There we
Hello,
go.
everybody on LinkedIn. We are so happy to be here with you today. I am Dr. Ben Bernstein, and I am joined today by Brian Parana. Brian, please say hello.
Hello, Dr. B. Happy to be here with you very
Thank
much.
you very much. So, this is one of a series where I, who am a performance psychologist for the last 40 years, get to interview really talented, very hardworking, and really effective. And I can explain why I'm going to say that about my guest today, Brian Parana, effective leaders in the health, fitness, lifestyle, fabulous part of life. So I got to meet Brian and through LinkedIn, and we started talking and chatting. We found we had a lot of common interests, and I actually leaned on Brian for some coaching for my health fitness, which I will get into a little later. Just a little bit about me. I am, as I say, a performance psychologist. I'm not a therapist, performance psychologist for the last 40 years, which means that I work on performance issues, specifically how stress affects performance. And I work with a very wide swath of people: actors, athletes, lawyers, dentists, doctors, CEOs, you name it. Anybody who has to act under a fairly stressful conditions and has to perform well. So I developed a system over 40 years that I train people to perform at their best under highly stressful situations. So, Brian, please introduce yourself and tell everyone about you.
Yeah, so I help people overcome poor health issues they're dealing with. Some have chronic health issues, some are looking for performance gains, and I'm looking to ultimately help people see that improving their lifestyle behavior habits and understanding nutrition, fitness all leads to a higher productivity in their life, not only for their businesses, for my business professionals, but also for their families. I'm a father of four. So there's always things going on in my world. I need to stay on top of it.
So, thank you. So, yeah, 4 kids, man, you are busy. I know that because we've been talking quite a bit. So, one of the things we want to jump right into is to make this of value to anyone who's tuning in is just as the title says, how do you optimize performance? What are the best ways to optimize performance? So, what we're going to do is break down in some detail as much as we can in a short time, and you're welcome to reach out to either of us afterwards. That's number one. Number two is if you have a question as we go along, please put it in the questions or chat column, and it comes up on our screen. We'll be able to see that. So, what are we connected with is the following, and I'm going to show you something. It's a model. It's a three-legged stool. This is the model that I've used in my work for 40 years. What does it represent? So, when you're on the ball field, or when you're in the boardroom, or when you are working out at the gym, it's always three parts of you. You've got a body, you've got a mind, and you've got a spirit. Body, mind, and spirit. So all three are operating all the time. And I have found this model to be very robust and very useful with just about everybody, because everybody's got a body, mind, and a spirit that's always operating in every situation, performance, high stress or not. And there are optimal states in the body, mind, and spirit. We want the body to be calm, want the mind to be confident, and the spirit, which is the one that we least talk about, we want it to be focused. And we'll get into this in a minute. So, Brian, what interested you in this?
Yeah, when I come across your information and website and YouTube's, I ended up catching on to this, and it really felt connected to it. I obviously start with the body with people where they are looking to improve their health in some fashion. Then the mindset is something that we really speak to with people to help them understand how they're relating to themselves and what they say and think about themselves. But then the spirit, that driving force that you and I have talked about a lot, that's where the gold is at, in the sense of how do people stay committed, stay consistent, have that underlying driving force to help power them through to accomplish bigger things for themselves. So that spirit is it.
Beautiful. So let's just jump right in and talk about the body. I'm curious, when we start with the body, I'm going to ask you a question to tell me what are the three main challenges people face about taking care of their body and overall physical health?
Yeah, some of the three that come to mind right now are: one, they're busy. they're unorganized, and they usually shoot from the hip because there's no schedule or routine or anything.
What
Those
is it?
are,
What does shoot from the hip mean?
yeah, when those challenges start coming up with people, I see that they start making poor decisions because they go unplanned. So three clients come to mind, very different situations. One travels, is constantly under people or other restaurants and such preparing their food for them, or they're in situations like a client meal where they might feel pressured to overconsume. Another one client stays at home or has lots of kids like I do, and they just go through unplanned dinners and meals. They're scrambling. They don't have a routine around even going to the grocery store to have food available. And the last one is a business leader, owner. He works really long days, really pushes food off and off just to stay productive. And all of a sudden, at the end of the day, it catches up to him, making poor decisions around eating not the best foods because he's hungry.
Yeah, I get it. So you've actually kind of described me with all three clients because I'm really on this health kick to get my physical shape, to get myself in much better physical shape. So what I would like from you right now are three things that I can do to get myself back in physical shape.
Excellent. So the three that I really hang my hat on: so movement, food choice, portion control.
Okay.
Those are the three.
So
And to
movement.
define them a little bit more, I'll define them a
Yeah.
little bit more. 10K steps is a good overall movement for
Wait a
someone.
minute. How many steps?
I like shooting for at least 10,000 steps.
Whoa,
That's
dude, I'm sitting in this chair all day long. Okay, I hear you. So I got to get
great.
up and it's like I got to move around. Right. Okay.
Exactly. Movement is energy. And the more that we move, the blood flows, and then we can think better and more clearly. So, got to
So
get up out of
movement
the
is,
chair.
I'll get up out of the chair after this is over. Okay, what's the
Yeah,
next one?
yeah, me too. And the second one is food choices, is obviously the food that we pick and eat for ourselves. And the third most important is portion control, not overeating. Make sure you're limiting the quantity of the food that you do eat.
I'm getting better, certainly on the last one about the portion control, and also the last two food choices. Portion, but the movement is something I really, really do have to add. And you coached me to get a pedometer, which I did, and I love it because I can actually see how many steps I'm taking during the day, and I keep working at increasing it. But I want to add to our discussion here. Oh, there you go. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we should offer one as a prize to the listeners or something. So, okay, so I want to add something to what Brian has said because we do complement each other in terms of body and how to optimize your body as a vehicle for your performance. The two things that I want to add are two tools that everybody needs to be practicing pretty much all the time, which are breathing and grounding. So just as you're listening to us now, or you're listening to my voice right now, just breathe, but when I say breathe, what I really mean is exhale, because most of us are holding our breath a lot. So just exhale really deeply down to your belly. There you go. Great. Now we're going to add grounding to that. Grounding means actually feeling the chair against your butt, your back, your legs, and feeling your feet being supported by the floor. Great. Now do both of them at the same time. Exhale. And as you're exhaling, you ground yourself. Now, what you'll find is that the more you do this, the more present you become, the more you're able to deal with the challenges at hand. And I would encourage everyone to just pay attention, just like Brian's encouraging me to get up from the chair and take steps. I would encourage you to start to really pay attention to how often you stop your breath during the day. When you stop your breath, you're immediately causing your sympathetic nervous system to go into alert, which is fight or flight. And that burns up a lot of energy and is not really the key of what you want. You want the energy, you want to go into action potentially, but you also want it to be focused. And the best way to do that is from a calm state. So we've given you now some real suggestions about optimizing your physical health. Brian, can we cross over to the mind?
Yeah. One thing real quick on the breath.
Yeah,
you've
please.
drawn my attention in the last 2 weeks to breathing more, and we hear it all the time. We naturally have to breathe for life, but you literally feel the weight coming off your shoulders and just de-stressing and getting back to connecting with your body, which we've talked about too. Connection with yourself and breath.
I'm glad you mentioned that because part of ground, thank you for mentioning that. Part of grounding is actually releasing physical tension, right? So when your shoulders are hiked up or your legs are going a mile a minute or your brow is furrowed like this, what you're really doing is you're disconnecting from gravity. Gravity is a very settling force. And the more as you ground yourself, that's why you pair it with an exhale, all of that just relaxes. And you'll even feel your inner organs sometimes are really clenched up, just actually all relax. Okay, good. Now we're really relaxed. We can get into the mind. So, in the mind, it's a very important part of what we do. But I want to say something about how I, as a performance psychologist, approach the mind because mind is a very big word. You can ask 10 different people what they mean in 10 different professions, and they will give you 10 different definitions. So, I'm going to give you a really simple one. The mind is what you're saying to yourself about yourself at the time of performance. And it's either encouraging, you can do this, you got it, you're prepared, you know what to do, or discouraging. No, man, you're a loser. You'll never do it. It won't work. Give up. So we have this constant back and forth in our minds. So that's we in our work, my work with people, we're training to connect to the encouraging side rather than get stuck in the discouraging side. So, Brian, I wonder how you, in your work, of being a lifestyle coach, how do you deal with the mind? What do you tell people? What can we tell the listener?
Yes, excellent. Well, basics to say weight management or energy management in your body, the way you look, feel is simple. We're going to have to move, watch what we eat, and don't eat too much. Those are the obvious ones, right? But the catalyst that really sets things apart is in the mind. What do you see when you look in the mirror? What do you say to yourself when you are seeing your image reflected back? What are the clothes you're wearing that you go around in all day? Are they flattering and form fitting and really show that you're put together, or are you hiding and putting on bigger clothes to get away? Ultimately, how you present yourself to the world, the workplace, your kids, your friends is going to be the energy that you get back. So the mind is very powerful, having that mindset.
It is, and in our terms, we connect the mind just like we connect the body with being calm as an optimal state. We connect, and Brian is definitely touching on this directly, which is that we connect the mind to being confident. So when you're connected well in your mind, you're confident. Brian, you had some really good examples of this. Can you tell us?
Yeah, leaning into fatherhood. My oldest, Levi, he's 14 now, but at the time he was 7. It was the summer, we wanted to go swimming. We took the family to the local YMCA. There was a diving board. He was so excited. And he's just one of those, I'm going to run off and do a cannonball in without knowing how to swim type kids. And he wasn't allowed to go on the diving board until he passed the swim test. The kid basically signed himself up, swam down the lap, tread water for a minute, and next thing you know, the kid's doing cannonballs and off the diving board. And that's just that confidence of that mindset, knowing there was nothing in his way that was going to keep him from cannonballing off the diving board.
So what this brings up is an important aspect of confidence because I think many people think that it's something you're born with or it's something that you somehow just infuse from the environment. It's not. Confidence is not an idea. It's based on, and your story about your son Levi is perfect because it's based on action. We gain confidence through action. So whatever actions that Levi had taken before this thing at the pool, he already thought of himself as I can do that. I'm able. I'll figure it out. Right. That's confidence. I can. I do, and I am. Brian, tell me to. You had mentioned something about talking to people that you work with about what you call MITs. Could you explain what that is?
Yeah, MIT's most.
So we get this is a national alert, everybody. I hope not. This is a
On do
test
not
of
disturb.
okay. Thank you.
Technology.
It bypasses do not disturb. Believe me.
Uh-huh.
Okay, Brian. MITs.
MIT's most important tasks. You need to
Okay.
stay focused on what.
Okay. We just lost Brian.
Hold on. There we
Okay.
are.
We have
Apples.
MITs. MITs. Go ahead.
So I got the alert there. So
Oh,
let's
okay.
see if we can do something. So I unfortunately can't hear you. That threw things off enough. So
You
can you
can't
hear
hear me now?
me?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
You can hear me. All right.
Okay.
So MITs. What's important about MITs are the simple fact that they're the most important tasks. Things that you need to stay focused on that keep you from derailing in the moment of where you're at, and stay focused on that. Talking with a client just the other day, those top three things are the most important things. Items 4 through 10 are the most dangerous things because they keep you distracted from what's moving you forward. So
Okay. Great. Now,
I'm
Brian, you
actually going
can't.
to join back in. So give me
Okay.
1 second because I can't
Take
hear
your
you.
time. Take your time. So, everybody, Brian is going to jump back in. You know, technology is pretty fabulous when it works, and it's pretty, I don't know, hair-raising, disturbing, upsetting, frustrating. Choose your. Is it an adjective or adverb for what it is? He'll join us back in a minute. But you know, a combination. Just summing up what we've been saying is a combination of.
There we are.
Thanks. A combination of really it's confidence is about how you think about yourself. So in my work with people, what I do is I actually train them, I show them that we all of us have two sides of our mind are working. One is a very positive, encouraging side. You can do this, you've got what it takes. And the other is kind of negative, or not kind of, it's negative. You can't, you don't really have what it takes. Now, part of what product of I think of our educational system, and I've been teaching for 50 years, so I feel I have some legitimacy for saying this. We're thrust into an educational system, certainly in this country, but it's pretty worldwide, that's highly competitive and highly comparative. Always being compared with somebody, you always can get a better grade. And actually what that does more is reinforces this negative side. You're not good enough, you're not trying hard enough, you don't study enough, all of those. Some of them may be true. However, the negative messages actually propound. Most of advertising on television is based on negativity. You don't drive the right car, you don't use the right shampoo, you're not living in the right neighborhood. Negative, negative, negative. So in fact, we get pretty trained toward this side, toward this voice. While this one is still here, but we're trained to go in this direction. Now, what I do in my work is actually we start to really wake up this side because it's always been there. You wouldn't have gotten to where you are if you didn't have this happening. But we train it so that when you start to go to the negativity, you recognize that, and then you turn to this side. You can do it. I've seen you do difficult things before. You've got what it takes. That's a training. That's a practice. Now, I know, and I'm going to say for a fact, that every single person has this going on. And I know for a fact that most people are actually more veered toward the negative. So we have to wake up this positive side, each of us individually and also collectively, which brings us to the spirit. So let's talk about the spirit. Spirit is a tricky word. Generally, because we have it very closely tied to organized religion. And it's very connected to organized religion. But that's not the totality of what spirit is. And I want to say at the outset, neither one of us is here to sell you some practice or some idea of a higher power or God or whatever. That's not, and I don't mean to demean it by saying whatever, but that's not why we're here. We're here to talk about spirit. Spirit is what's driving you. Spirit is your fire. Spirit is what is motivating you to be your best. For me, to be a really, really good teacher and psychologist and husband. For Brian, what's your spirit? How's your spirit directing you?
My spirit is directed to help people live healthier, more energetic, more experience filled lives.
Exactly, great. And you're a dad and your husband, right? Okay, all of that. That's the spirit talking. So let's spend a little time talking about the spirit. And the way to talk about it in terms of focus, because the spirit, body wants to be calm, mind wants to be confident, spirit wants to be focused. Because otherwise, what is it? Where does it go? How do we know what it is? So focus means two things. It means having a goal and taking actions that get you to the goal. Think about basketball. The goal is the hoop, and taking actions that get you there are dribbling, passing, shooting, right? You have to, if you want to be focused, you have to have a goal and you have to take actions that get you to the goal. So I'd love, Brian, for you to talk about your best recommendations regarding goals, because clearly, you work on setting them with people. And how do you help people to really grasp what a good goal is and how to stay with it and achieve their goal?
Right. Upon first talking to someone, I really dive deep to why they're doing or wanting to improve their health, nutrition,
Right.
fitness, all that stuff. So we understand the why behind it, and then the obvious SMART goals. We have specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-driven goals. When we start to clarify what those are, we're able to work backwards. Once we can start working backwards, we have a roadmap to the success that will lead us there, and we'll have focus, we'll have confidence, and we'll be able to stay calm throughout the process, because we just need to look at what the next best step is, not getting distracted by those 4 through 10, as I said, is the most dangerous things that keep you, quote, busy, but not productive toward your goals.
I want to underline two things that you just said, because sometimes I have found that, I'll say myself, take it for granted that people kind of get it. There's something called a SMART goal. This is well known. Brian and I didn't invent this SMART goal. And the letters sometimes mean different things for different people. So the way I learned it and the way I teach it is SMART, specific, S, specific. The goal needs to be specific, right? I want to be a better basketball player, not specific enough. I want to improve my jump shot, much more specific. Okay? Specific. S. M. Measurable. How do I know that I'm moving toward the goal? So it needs to have certain measurable milestones that you know that you're getting there, right? With a jump shot, maybe it's getting your feet, getting your position, moving your body, getting your arm, moving the arm, releasing the ball. Very specific. Very specific, then very measurable. Yeah.
Yep.
A. What do you use for A, Brian? I think we have a different one.
Attainable or achievable? Depends on which way you want to look.
Yeah. So those are great, and I would even add to that adjustable, because sometimes you have a really great goal. It's specific, it's measurable, but sometimes you need to adjust it. So adjust, attainable, achievable, all go together. Then we have R. I say realistic. What do you say?
Relevant to what their goal, what they specifically want.
This is why it's such a great formula, because it's malleable in a very direct way. So measurable, and what, I'm sorry, so you said SASMAR, realistic. You said what?
Then time driven.
And time driven, yeah, right, exactly. Time driven, time sensitive. So it's not like over a lifetime, it's over maybe the next week or the next month, something like that. Okay, so the SMART goals are essential. Now,
yeah, I want to interject real quick.
Yeah.
One thing that just through our conversations together, I'm a fast-paced, energetic go-getter, and I have great goals, but the adjustable is something that we've called out, and making sure that they're time sensitive to my capacity to manage all the things in my life. to keep me from feeling overwhelmed. That's been a really huge eye opener for me to step back and take a breath of not feeling like I didn't accomplish 25 things. I'm raising 4 humans to be really great people, and that in and of itself is a big accomplishment at the end of the day.
Well, I'm so glad that you see your children as humans. That's really a big that's a big advantage to your kids. Okay, just kidding, Brian. So let's talk about the other part of focus: goals and actions that take you to the goals. Most of us are aware of when we have a goal, the actions we need to take, and if we stay on those actions, it's like staying on a road that you're traveling on. You will reach the goal. However, we are all beset, especially in 2023, with distractions, right? All kinds of distractions. This is the biggest distraction ever invented in humankind, all right?
Yeah.
I see 2-year-olds on the public bus on their device, all right? So distraction is a major, major challenge. And how we stay connected is really the key to fulfillment of the spirit, which is you have a goal and you want to keep moving toward it. How do you deal? What do you talk to people about distraction, Brian?
Distraction. When I'm on the call with someone, I politely remind them that anything that stands between what they want and what we're working together on is a distraction. Of course, everyone has a spouse or a partner or a relationship. They may or may not have kids. They have a lot of other responsibilities and different hats that they wear in their life. But when it comes down to the simple fact of losing weight, we have to figure out better ways to not get distracted and overconsumed with that derails them
Yeah,
making progress at all.
I agree with you totally. So here we have it, folks. We have body, mind, spirit, calm, confident, and focused. So we would love to invite you to put any questions that you have that we can answer. And we have a couple that I can start with. And if more come in, as long as we have the time, we'll be happy to answer them. If we don't have the time, you can also put in your email address and we will email you a response. So one question we have, and this looks like it's for you, Brian. I'm reading it now. I've tried so many diets and nothing works. I'm discouraged. Let's see what there was more to it than that. Yeah, it just says I'm discouraged. So
Right.
here, this is a really common situation. I mean, I've heard this, and I don't deal with nutrition as you do. What do you say? I've tried so many diets and nothing works. I'm discouraged. What do you say to that?
It's literally one of the first questions I ask people when they reach out and start engaging with me. Have you worked with a professional or done any diets? Oftentimes, they haven't worked with a professional, but they've done all the diets and they haven't had success. Consistency ends up being the biggest part of having lasting success. We go
Sure.
back to those 3 pieces of moving enough, picking good healthy food choices, proteins, vegetables, some starchy carbs, monitoring healthy fats, and minimizing excess sugar or processed foods. And then we
Right.
get into portion control. So no matter what, we've seen studies where people eat Oreos and McDonald's and they still lose weight. It's because they're managing the overall calories. And once you start to understand how those 3 variables work in your life and start to have systems and processes and routines that get you to the grocery store, to have some sort of meal prep and meal plan organized for the week ahead or the different situations, all of a sudden you have clarity on how to act. And then you're not unorganized, too busy, you're shooting from the hip, and you make not the best choice and overeat in the nighttime because you're tired from the day, even though you've not physically moved your body, but you're mentally wiped from work.
Gotcha. Yeah, that makes so much sense. I think the key in that part of the key in that question, which you're addressing, is that a diet is basically some kind of meal plan or choice of foods. But you're saying it's not just the choice of foods. That's important, but it's also portion control and it's also exercise are really essential in terms of dealing with particularly weight issues. And I know that because I am right now, probably 15 pounds overweight, and you're really helping me to get into that groove of these three things. Okay, another question. Let me read it. Humans, says for Dr. B, human society generally goes toward the negative. Our mindset and overall confidence is definitely affected. How do we get out of a negative mindset effectively? Well, I was touching on this, and it's certainly worth repeating, maybe in different words, that you have to realize that there's a whole other side of you. You wouldn't have gotten where you are, wherever you are, if it was just all negative. No, you would have given up. You would have like cashed in, whatever that means. You just would just sort of blot out if you only paid attention to the negative. So there have to have been times in your own life or your own work or both where you turn to the positive side of yourself, the encouraging side of yourself, the side that wants you to be better and better at who you are and what you do. So it really is a training, but the training has to be this. It has to be first an awareness. Whoa, I'm going negative again. Unless you become aware, you won't be able to use any tool to get you out of it. You'll just get magnetized or drawn into that tsunami negativity. So I know when we talked about this, you have a very effective way for a person waking up to when they are going into that negativity so that they can reroute their energies toward that more encouraging side. And what is your way? It's so simple. And so
excellent. So there's going to be two things I'm going to touch on. One is the easiest one that you can do right now. You go to the junk drawer, you grab a rubber band, you put it on your wrist. And once you start to become aware, which is the most important piece of this, that I am starting to say negative things to myself, that's when you take that rubber band, you pull it, and you let go. And that snap, it's not going to be painful, but it's going to be abrupt. You're like, ow. That's the pattern interrupt to get your brain off of the negative rabbit hole and back to your current reality, to now be more resourceful, to start to think of a better solution than just complaining inside your head about whatever is going on.
Well, I'm going to add to that because I think that's a brilliant, easy, effective way of catching yourself, rerouting the energy. I want to talk a little bit more about rerouting the energy because I want you to know that you have to really look in the mirror of your positive, encouraging self. You have to hear the message that it's giving to you. Invariably, it's going to be, you got this. I know you can do it. I've seen you do these things before. Because it's that encouragement that then will lead you to figuring out what are the steps I need to take to accomplish where I'm going. And there's always small, manageable steps, right? But the first thing that Brian is really nailing is awareness. Ooh, I'm going negative. Second thing, turn to that encouraging, positive side as if you're looking in a mirror and it's speaking to you. You can do this. You got what it takes. Receive that. Then you're in the place where you can look at the exact steps you need to take to go forward. Well, Brian, that's all the questions.
One more input there, real quick.
Yeah.
Another pattern interrupt is getting a professional. Dr. B, myself, we're huge pattern interrupts when it comes to talking with someone. I know that I've gotten a lot of stuff from test anxiety, and you're helping people prepare for some really big tests, and that can either they fail and they're stuck in this situation, or they pass and they progress their life. And you can come in and pattern interrupt by just having conversations and pointing out and clarifying the directions, the goals, keeping them on track. So we ourselves are huge pattern interrupts. And that's one reason why you get someone who knows what they're doing in whatever situation it is. Like a car mechanic. Your car is broke, take it to the mechanic and it'll get fixed.
Right. Well, the pattern interrupt, this is a great take on, because I talk about habit change, but the first part of habit change has to be pattern interruption. You're interrupting that habit from just washing over everything as it has done in the past. So that's essential. Next thing that's essential is, like, what do we need to do? to move in a positive direction. Okay, so Brian, tell everybody how to get in touch with you if they want to speak with you directly, find out more about your work, or actually want to work with you. How do
Excellent.
people?
Well, I've been consistently posting on LinkedIn. My website is justmyname.com, and I'm on other social medias. So that would be the easiest way. And jump on there and just reach out and say hi. That you're looking for a little help with improving your health, your fitness, nutrition to live a healthier, more productive, more exciting life that's not held back because you're too busy or too tired to do something that you want to do for yourself.
Right. And I just want to say, because I've been doing a little work with Brian for myself, um, one of the things that I look for in any kind of coach is that they walk their talk. This guy has a gym in his garage, okay? So he is like, he's on top of this, and he definitely walks his talk. And I'm benefiting myself from that. Absolutely. So with me, if you want to get in touch with me, it's DRB, that's like Dr. B, YOURBEST.com. So it's Dr. B, just the letter B, yourbest.com. And that's my website. You can find everything you need on there, including contact me. And any questions that you have for either of us, we love to get questions. You can, I don't want to speak with you for you here, Brian, but I imagine people can get on some kind of discovery call with you, or no charge to talk about.
Yep.
Yeah, same thing with me. So we need to really fulfill our function in this world by serving others and doing what we can. This is a world that really needs better health, mental, physical, and spiritual, and we're doing what we can to move that ahead. And we trust, hope, pray that you are as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Brian. Thank you for being here today. I look forward to our.
It's fun. Very fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Hello, everybody.